The driver's license and social security card in the man's wallet said his name was Edmund Fraker. He had been Edmund Fraker for a couple of months now and was getting used to it. If they caught him, the name would trace back to a dead end, giving his employers deniability. Not that he would get caught. It had never happened. No reason to think it would that night. Still, get cocky, get hit. The war had taught him that. He took the knife from his pocket, flicked the blade open with the snap of his wrist, and slit the police tape on Ingram's apartment door. The deadbolt was unlocked, so he slid the blade into the gap between the door and jamb, found the latch tongue, and eased it back. A moment later he stood inside with his back against the closed door. He listened for a while. No doors opened in the hall. No curious neighbors, no shouts of alarm. He turned on his penlight and shaded the narrow beam with his hand, and used it to avoid furniture as he crossed to the windows and pulled down the blinds. When he crossed back, he glanced through the open door to the bathroom, and his light picked up the dark blood on the tiles. He wedged a straight-back chair under the front doorknob just in case. It would hold for a few seconds. Not that he expected anyone, but he thought of himself as a careful man. He pulled on thin medical gloves and started his search. Fraker savored assignments like this, a nighttime creep, clandestine, solo. During the war, he discovered night was his territory. Where most feared the darkness, he welcomed it. No, loved it. Felt more alive in it than he did in the day. He slipped the knife from his pocket again and flicked the blade open. 5 inches of Solingen steel, both sides edged and honed. The aluminum haft solid in his hand, the surface pebbled for grip. He had taken it off a Waffen SS sergeant an hour after the parachute jump that had put him behind enemy lines in France in the days before D-Day. Clouds wisping across the moon, the fading engines of the drop plane, the hum of wind through the shrouds and the flap and rustle of the canopy above him as he fell, heart racing toward a darkness pricked by the flames of marker fires lit by French partisans in the field below. The wind took him away from there, and he watched the markers disappear. When he landed, no one answered the cricket click of the toy noisemaker he had been given for signaling. He was alone, and he liked it. He moved west by compass through the dark woods, searching for the river that would lead him to the village of Saint-Pierre and the backup rendezvous. Sometimes he heard the snap of gunfire, and once the deeper cough of a machine gun and the crump of a grenade, but it was always in the distance. He stopped at the edge of the woods and looked across a field toward the dark line of the hedgerow at the other side, the grass damp under his knee. More than 200 yards of open ground, nowhere to hide, and the full moon turning the new spring grass to silver. The night was warm. A light breeze rustled the leaves of the trees behind him, and the air smelled of new-turned earth. The hedgerow at the far side was a dark mystery. It could hold 100 men, or none. One way to find out. Step out and see what happens. All right, then. Go. He started to rise, and he heard the snick of metal on metal no more than 20 feet from where he crouched. The man moved, and Fraker saw him. He too was at the edge of the trees looking out at the open ground. One of his? One of theirs? Theirs. The coal scuttle helmet silhouetted against the paleness of the haystack behind him answered that, so Fraker shot him twice with the silenced pistol he'd been issued. Near the dead man's hand was the knife and the piece of garlic sausage he had been about to eat. The snick of the blade opening was the noise that betrayed him. His bad luck and Fraker's good, and he had carried the knife as a charm ever since. He had discovered its wonderful efficiency at everything from opening letters to slipping between a man's ribs to puncture his heart. Trust the Krauts to get something like that right. Fraker pulled a cushion from Ingram's sofa, slid it open, and felt inside for anything hidden there. Jimmy Ryan's was packed with people who had come to hear Art Tatum play.
Just finishing the set, Michael. I can get you a table. Second set's in an hour.
I won't go in, Hank, Cassidy said. I'll hang her till he's done. Hank Dixon, thin and gangling as a stork, punched him on the shoulder with a bony fist and ambled into the main